now we open up, and then you can ask any questions you had, and we'll try to answer every one of them. Thanks for waiting. Ready? Okay.
Thank you so much for giving me some. As I know, the KDI school is very famous institute, not only in Korea but also outside in Korea. So I think that scholarship is very limited. So I think the school should give us more scholarship. So, you have any idea to give more scholarship now or later?
We, of course, will work on keep increasing the number and the kinds of scholarships in the future, but we have already quite a few, more than maybe you know. So do not worry about scholarships. As long as you're qualified, we do provide. Next.
Hi, my name is Nana Kim. I just have a question on the application, the statement of purpose. Number 3, I believe, to me was very peculiar because it asked, what do you expect to contribute to the school? I don't know exactly what the administration is looking for because we don't know exactly what the school is asking for.
We value, as I mentioned, diversity in the student body, and I trust that the students learn at least as much from one another as from the professors. And so that, right, intellectually, but also emotionally, socially, you have a lot to contribute to, more than you know. So I want you to think about that, right? As a person with your background, you do have something to contribute to the school community. That's what we are asking. Somebody who's done the homework. Good, thank you. Next. Next question. Any question is okay. From my experience, it may be too basic a question. If I ask, I may be embarrassed. Well, the person comes up after the class and asks the question, I realize that's a very good question. Everybody could have benefited from having that question in class. So do ask, right?
The question asked was an interesting one. Perhaps this is another way of looking at it. What can you really contribute to KDI school? Well, we don't really expect that you are going to bring a lot of money to school.
You mind.
What we really are interested in is you will bring a lot of energy, creativity, resources, your personal creativity to school, and such as experience, and also diversity, such a unique experience that you have that you can share with others. So these are the sort of stuff that we're talking about.
Thanks for the helpful comment. Others? Mike is coming.
Actually, I have an interest in the environmental policies, but I'm not sure if your school focus on those policies or just on the economic-related policies.
Professor Dong-Young Kim, who couldn't be here this morning, teaches environmental policy, for instance, and he's a very good one at that. One of the top, with a very high competition for the teaching award, and he's one of the top. So we will be sure that there will be a wonderful class courses. Other questions? Yes, thank you.
Thank you. I'm working for electronic company, not the government or management company. So if without any support from my company, I want to study on myself. in that case, can I apply this to the school without support from my company?
Of course, financial situation would not affect the decisions on your admissions. And the school will consider providing you some scholarships, I'm sure, depending on your qualifications. So please do apply.
Because the reason I ask that when I see the portion of the students, half of that is international and half, 30% is the government, and 20 is like some related to banking or something. So in that case, they can get some support from their company. But to me, I'm engineer, so I just have all my to little bit
Right.
my own interest in this field. So I'm a little bit confused. I can get some application.
There's a competition in each group. For those who are coming from the government, they have an internal competition. So for instance, the Ministry of Government Administration will recommend after the internal competition double the number of the actual enrollment size, which would be about 35 to 40, and then we select 18 out of them. So competition is there, and the same thing for the general students like you. But it's not necessarily worse in your case to get in any way. Okay. Other questions? Or please join me, the faculty members, to provide helpful information.
My name is Kim Jin. I came from the local government. So is there some disadvantage to local government civil servants compared to the central government civil servants? Will I apply?
We are dedicated to enhancing the capacities of the public sector, and so we do provide full scholarship to those who are in the government. Other questions? Yes.
Thank you for the presentation, and thank you so much for the faculty who are here. And I think the early in the morning, the faculties are here and show the dedication of your excellence in teaching for students. My question is, the other schools that you have a program in global perspective, global environment, and I can see that from like schools in US and Europe. But my interest was that the schools in Singapore, and seemingly KDI school has very famous advantage, but compared to the schools in Singapore, how would you say that KDI school has the more particular side instead of the schools in Singapore?
Good question. The National University of Singapore does have a Lee Kuan Yew school that is very similar to our school in mission and what they do. I think we're competing neck and neck. I think probably the evaluation would have to wait a little more to see how we continue to perform at this point. I hope that answers. There may be others who can join me to address that question.
Okay. For information, Professor Jung Kwon, who used to teach in Singapore University, chose to transfer to KDI school. That would be one proof for your answer.
That's one very personal evidence to help us. Others? Let me get back to the question to the government official briefly to be fair. The first scholarship for the officials in the government is provided once the person gets in, right? In the evaluation stage, there is no consideration for those who are in the government. Just because they're in the government doesn't mean they will get in easily, right? Number two, so they have to earn the scholarship. Number two, once they get in, they have to perform. If they fall below some GPA, they lose their scholarship. So, for information. Next.
I studied at university, and I think that I'm one of the youngest who present here, and I'm a bit afraid that I would be not an attractive candidate. And what would be the strong points that college students can emphasize on to make themselves more attractive?
As I said, I'm saying it third time now, diversity is a value that we pursue. And we do want to have some, at least, fresh college graduates. They bring the energy, ambition, and the intellectual rigor, right? So please apply. We'd love to see your application and see you in the interview. Others? Yes.
My question is related to her question. It's for those students who are freshly graduated from college, like me, and who doesn't have any degree about economics or policies. Do you think we can follow the curriculars and studies?
I believe you can. When we evaluate the applications, we try to assess your general intelligence. If you are bright, promising, and dedicated, then we select you, we choose you, because we believe in your intelligence. And as long as you're bright, you may have a hump to get the jargons and basics of the discipline, but I'm sure from my past experiences, you can overcome and maybe excel. Actually, when you come from different backgrounds, you bring fresh perspective to the discipline and you may actually excel after the hump. So you do not have to have majored in economics or political science to get into KDI school for master's level program. For PhD is different, but then for master's, you can apply no matter what your undergraduate major was. Okay? As long as you're bright, dedicated, promising, and ambitious. Usually they can go to a PhD program for this.
Hi, my name is Hannah Seo. I want to know what is the difference between KDI school and graduate school of administration in curriculum?
It's a good question. I don't want to be bragging about our program too much, but I think KDI school is the only genuine public art school in Korea. There are schools of public administration, but they are narrow. We are broader. We teach interdisciplinary program, and we focus on policy studies in the fullest sense of the term. And so those are differences. Maybe I can add one more, which is international. We have very international makeup of the school, the faculty and the student level. No other program has matched it yet, although some have been trying to copy. Yes.
Okay, hello. My name is Julius. I'm from Kenya. My question is, among the rules or the qualifications which you need is that we must have like TOEFL or TOEIC to be to qualify. So my question is, those who come from maybe English-speaking countries, are we supposed to have this kind of TOEFL and TOEIC? And another question is, some of us also, they are still in our last semester, they are doing undergraduate course. I will also qualify to apply.
The last question, I'm sorry. Who's?
Okay, we some of us who are still in college, we are in our last semester, so I think we're going to graduate this year. So are we eligible to?
When you say this year, when?
I mean, this is my last semester. Yeah, I have this year.
If you can graduate before the start of the KDI school academic year, which is January or February, you will be okay. You can apply. The first question about the English test scores, those scores are recommended, but it's not a must. So even if you don't have the official score or your scores are outdated over 2 years, that's okay. That should be the hurdle in applying. You can apply and then we evaluate you. The interview process will get you. The test scores do provide some information, but then, your ability to take classes and study in English would be more important than test-taking skills in English, in essence.
I'm Jae-hyun from Korea. My question is, you said everybody can apply the graduate school even though you have any kind of bachelor degrees, right?
Yes.
And my basic question is, how can I prepare for the interview? Because I have no background of the econ or policy. Maybe because my major is biomedical engineering, and so what kind of things should I prepare for the interview? You said yes.
We wouldn't ask you to speculate on the foreign exchange rate in the next month in the interview. We'll be testing you on your general intelligence, and so the questions will be based on, our aim to evaluate you in fairness. So your background, what you studied, your motivation to come to KDI school, your lifetime goal, career goal, what do you aim to become, to do in your life. Those will be the basic questions, and plus maybe some, intellectual questions that would concern you. Won't be, wide questions out of your background. Okay. Others? Just hand up here, and then the back, and then you. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Major Choi from the Great Republic of Korea Air Force, and my question is, when you select a student, does the grade in university matter so much? Because I think there are some people who are not that much mature when they are in university, and I think just grade cannot show the people his interest or something else. And I would say my grade was not that much bad, but unique.
I agree with you. I believe in second chance. I think Korea needs to change to give people second chance in life. I think determining a person's career at the age of 20 is not okay for a country. So having said that, GPA is a factor, of course, in the admissions evaluation, but then just a factor, right? GPA at the undergraduate level tells us about your level of discipline, how disciplined you are in managing your time and life. But you could have changed, right? And so we will evaluate how you are today. Okay? All right. In the back.
My name is Yubresha from Kenya. I was wondering, for PhD in public policy, do I need an economic background? If currently I'm doing masters in material engineering, but I really need public policy.
Wow. Okay. You're going to have to demonstrate why KDI school want to accept you for the PhD program. What is the linkage between what you have studied and the public policy program here? The program is not a curriculum-based one. In the first year, you take primarily methodology courses, quantitative skills and others, and then you take the exam or preliminary exam to advance to the dissertation writing stage. And then the program is primarily about dissertation writing in consultation with the advisors. And so your research proposal has to fit with the faculty members' research interests, and they have to believe that you have the potential to write an excellent dissertation. So your proposal would have to carry that information, right? So we consider that. Others? I think, yeah. Up front?
My question is about online applications. Number 5, the list of recommended. Is it the? I'm working for the local government. Is it the mandatory to recommendation, or? And second question is about the. I live in down Gangnam, so it's so far away. So, am I available to using the dormitory housing?
Two recommendation letters are mandatory. I'm sure you can get one from the person who's a supervisor to you at the work, and maybe one from somebody who can evaluate your academic background. I don't think they'll be too hard for you to get. In terms of the dormitory service, because of our commitment to match domestic students with the same number of internet students, 50-50, we are going to use all our dormitory facility for the international students who are coming farther away from. So we will help you to find a housing around here. And that's all we can do at this moment until we get a better campus. We're working on it. Next, yes.
Good morning. My question is kind of related to the recommendation letter question. One of the professors that I asked to write a letter, he insisted that he would send the letter directly to the KDI school. And also he asked me to print out the letter and sign it, and I send it to him and he would send it right to the KDI school. Is it required to do that, or should I post the letter in my...
Sending directly to KDI school is the norm. Whether we accept also direct submissions from you is something that maybe the staff can answer or exact this. Can they submit directly?
Yes, the recommendation letter can be submitted directly by the recommender, or you can gather all the documents in your envelope and send it together.
But I guess the norm is even if you bring them in your hand to the admissions office, usually the letters are inside the sealed envelope, right? You are not supposed to see it. Other questions? Here's one. Okay. And then you.
In regard to the recommendation, it has to be written in English even for Korean professors.
It's okay to be in Korean. That's the exception. Recommend letter, you can have it in Korean. Other questions? Because believe it or not, we can be Korean too.
Now I'm doing my master's degree in one of Korean university, and it's mainly next year. I can't decide top 5 which program, for example, master or PhD in school, because my nature related to international trade and work was
Depending on your qualifications and how ready you are to undertake, say, PhD level study, I think you might want to consult with one of the faculty members here in your field. International trade, well, I'll consult with you for today, right? So we don't have one right now. So you can see me after this. Other questions?
Hi, I have a very quick question about scholarship. First, you said that you will consider scholarship when you evaluate the prospective students. So would it be safe to think that I can consider or apply for scholarship after I receive an admission? My second question is rather specific. Currently, I work at the Korean National Commission for UNESCO, and considering my work background and also my personal interest, the most relative program would be the MPP program. I can take the MPP course, which would be a very close second interest. Or maybe I should apply for the MPP national course, maybe trade and also GK social policy in that program. So to sum it up, I'm trying to find which kind of strategy would fit me most.
Your primary interest in the program would be in which concentration in the MPP program?
The social policy under the program.
We haven't yet created an evening program or weekend program for that concentration. I guess the choice then can be yours to make. You could, as you said, either choose MPP or MPP-EB for the part-time program and try to take, relevant classes as much as you can and then go from there. I wish I could answer better. The first question, the scholarships. We, as admissions committee, will evaluate your qualifications and then we make decisions on how much you can support, right? In terms of scholarships, and then you will work with us on that notification.
After I
whether you can, attend or not. We do have some scholarships for NGO students. I think you are an NGO person?
No, we are self-governmental. We're under the Ministry of Education.
Anyway, we do have various scholarships for various people, and so we will do our best to consider your financial situation once we decide to offer you admissions. Okay. Yes.
Oh, well, I hope my question doesn't convey a lack of commitment on my part, but realistically, since I'm a person who's working in the public sector, I'd like to know what the rules are for taking a leave of absence because of work, and will that affect my scholarship?
I'm not sure if I get the question right. How do you get the leave from your job?
No, I mean, if I'm not able to complete my 2 years in succession, I mean, if the circumstance arises for me to take a semester off.
You're thinking about combining work and study, and in case you cannot finish the program within 2 years?
Yes.
It's okay. Part-time is part-time, meaning you will do your best to finish the program in as few years as possible, but then it can take more than 2 years.
Are there specific rules for that?
No. We have, scholarships for academic excellence. For instance, it may be an incentive to consider. For those who take more than 3 classes per semester, which means 9 credits, and perform well, meaning top 10% of the school, the class, then you will get full scholarship the next semester. That could be an incentive. So in case you take courses, less than 3 per semester, which you might have to, right? Then you won't have that opportunity or challenge, right? So that may be a problem, but then otherwise you can set your pace. You take 2 courses, 1 course per semester, and then set your pace. As long as you make progress, there's no problem.
I have one more question. I heard that the English program that you are running, I heard that you're running a robust English program. It means that you are helping us to write better essay or better English skills?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Like International Learning Language Program, are you helping us to polish our finished essay product? And the other question is, I'm from non-profit organization, not government, not NGO, but non-profit organization, and I'm sure that I will qualify for the application. Right?
we would consider, of course. For the English program, why don't we hear from the director briefly?
Well, thank you for the question. Let me see if I understand what you are looking for. The best way, I suppose, I can explain about the KDI's English program. We have 100% English communication on campus, so all courses are taught in English and so forth, as you know that. Speaking English is really the basic, and we move much beyond. The emphasis of the school really is on writing. And writing, as you probably know, it's not easy. And there's no way that you can really master the best writing in a couple of years. But I can assure you that we do provide a great deal of practice in writing, not just ordinary diary writing, but really academic writing. It is sort of persuasive writing. If you would like to visit an academic writing class, my class is held this afternoon downstairs, room 201 at 2 o'clock. You're very welcome to visit. I can't invite all of you because we don't have, the room's not quite this big. But this is a very important part of the program. It's something that we dedicate a lot of interest and energy in trying to help you improve your skills. And if you would like to at least visit for a while and see what our academic writing class is like, you would be most welcome.
Thank you very much for the invitation. Got the offer. Please take your seat.
I want to ask about scholarship program. How many students can get some kind of scholarship? I mean, how percentage of students?
We admit only the best and the brightest. So we try to provide everyone at least some sort of scholarship, actually. It's a secret? we give away far more than you can give. Maybe after graduation you can pay back.
How about in case of Korean students, like, because
everybody. As long as we choose you.
If I have no money, I cannot study. Or I don't know, it's about working as an assistant or.
Yes, there are, in addition to the academic excellence scholarships, there are work study programs. Once you get in case your scholarship does not cover all the cost and expenses, you can work as TA or AA admin assistant or other things, or RA. So you can earn money to supplement your income. Please inquire.
I would like to ask about the PhD program. And then you already explained about the first year coursework, the pretty much focus on methodology courses. And I couldn't find the 6 subfields of specialization from the brochure. And then I wonder the specialization differentiated curriculum depending on the how it differentiates the curriculums. And the reason I'm asking is that I could find some kind of curriculum from your website, but the subfield is kind of different from the brochure, so I'm somewhat confused. So I want to make sure that. I also wonder I can be provided the specific curriculums for each field. And my second question is that how many of the PhD students are now currently enrolled in your program, and how many graduates so far since its establishment in 2001? And then what are those? What is the career paths of the graduates, and how long it usually takes to complete the whole courses, assuming that I'm combining my work and study from the second.
as I said, our PhD program is not a curriculum-based program. So for those who haven't had the necessary background for public policy study here, you have very low chance of getting in. You should have at least, extensive coursework in the field that you want to study. So the first year courses are to brush up your skills, not necessarily to build you up from scratch, right? And there will be far fewer classes on your substantive field of specialization. So it's a dissertation-based program, and we apply even higher, far higher standards to our PhD program students. So we do not run the program if there aren't enough number of qualified students. In the past couple of years, we just have one student right now. In the past couple of years, or 3 to 4 years, we had just 2 or 3 students whom we could admit. We couldn't run the program with those few numbers. We need to have at least 5 or more per year to run the program. And so we, although we regret, we couldn't admit the 2 or 3 that we could find for the pool. But this year, we are determined to restart the program. And so we are aggressively searching for PhD program students, prospective students in various places. And so I can tell you that in the last 3 years, 4 years, this year we may have the best chance to revive the PhD program. But we won't lower these standards. We will apply the same standards and try to recruit the ones who are ready to undertake the study. Just because you get in doesn't mean you can graduate. Not everyone who came into our PhD program graduated. About 1/2 is the successful ratio, and they do well. You've seen 2 of them. Hope that answers the question. Okay. Yes.
As to the program of the PhD course, KDI school is planning to run the PhD program related to the development assistance, ODA, particularly the effectiveness of the ODA. You know, this effectiveness ODA is very, very important, very controversial issues. A lot of ODAs is coming from the donor countries, United States, European countries, and Japan, advanced countries to the developing society. But impact is very, very disappointing. So in the current development economics, impact evaluation of the effectiveness of the development assistance to the developing society is one mainstream as of now. So that we would like to open that area in our PhD program starting next year. And particularly, we will establish the development laboratory, development lab that will explore the effectiveness based on the theory of the development, as well as micro econometric empirical research with a survey, questionnaires, interview at the field in the developing society, say Indonesia, Africa, Latin America. So to conduct such empirical research, it will take about at least 3 years to start, from starting to the completion of the paper. So such empirical paper can be the chapter of your thesis, PhD thesis. Advisor, professor, and research assistant, that is a PhD candidate, can form the project team and then do research. But this research is not for just research for research. We will pursue the translation of a research into action, the real action. How to resolve the structural problems faced by the developing society, so that this can be the one potential program you to choose the KDI school. KDI is one of the leading companies in accumulating the knowledge and experience of development, not only Korean development experience during the takeoff period in the 1960s and 70s, but also we have accumulated about more than 20 years of development consulting experience at KDI for the development society. So that is one of the potential programs. As MPP, ED or MPP, it doesn't matter.
Thank you very much. In the interest of time, I would strongly encourage you, those who are interested in the PhD program, to seek an appointment, as some of you have. I also have some requests with the faculty members who are studying, researching in your interest field. And that interview may be more useful and informative for your decision making. And so do that, please. After the hour is over, I'm sure the faculty members will be here, so you can get in touch with them or send emails for those who are not here. And all of us, as you know, are dedicated to your service and to your welfare, your development. So we'll be happy to see you as long as we have find time to see you. We'll do that.
I'm interested in the career path after graduating KDI school. As a person currently working in the private sector, which is not practically related to the policy making, I'm wondering whether you have a lot of cases for students to make a career change after graduation.
Yes, we believe in second chance, and those who come to KDI school do get into a transformative stage, if you can put it that way, and change their career often. Some, of course, promising fresh college graduates to get on to the PhD program, usually in the US. Those who are in the private sector can go into, say, work in the international organizations. You can work at KDI as a researcher. You can switch jobs after studying, say, finance and financial policy to the financial sector for public and private. And so our graduates have done really well. As you know, the school body is so rich that many of our students who didn't have jobs before joining us, or who are thinking about changing jobs, changing career, could do it through their networking with their classmates. Right? We have many people from the prestigious public and private companies and the governments, and so they look for jobs like Korea Development Bank, and with some scouted to that institution and many others. And so KDI school does provide ample opportunities for thinking about or acting on the career change.
One anecdotal case. My former student, who is also from the private sector, joined ADB, Asia Development Bank in Philippines, 2 months ago. That's one example that I can provide.
Yeah, Ko Kyung-yun used to work in energy, technology person, IT person, but then he switched to public sector and successfully landed on an ADB job. Other questions? We are running out of time now, so first there and then you, okay?
Thank you for your presentation. I'm a university student now. I could see from the presentation that the number of people who are from freshly graduate was like less than 4%. So I just want to ask that, is it because of the number of applicants from undergraduate was less, or is it because like the KDI prefer people with working experience?
In terms of the competition ratio, to be honest, the general students have the toughest competition ratio, of course. But we are not necessarily allocating any quota here. So as long as we are right and promising, you will get it. Don't worry about competition ratio here, right? Just worry about who you are, what you want to do at KDI school, and how to present it in your application. There and then you. Why don't you go ahead?
Thank you. I worry about my question is childish or not.
You never do that. No one does that at KDI school. So go ahead, please.
I'm interested in public government office program, especially NTT. But I graduated university so many years ago, and I cannot study English at all. And I really want to know how much linguistic ability to study in KDI school, and how much knowledge of economics to study in KDI school.
You seem great. Second chance, right? You can change your life whenever you think you can. Right? Yes.
Good morning. My name is Jong Sang Park. I'm working for a Korean venture company in the overseas business department. Also, I'm very interested in the policy and the investment in African markets and African countries. So, are you dealing with those kind of policies or projects right now?
NPP-ED program may be the closest to what you look for, and we do have linkage, as you know, with the KDI, and KDI runs many what is called KSB, knowledge sharing programs, and that includes many African countries as well. And so you can have the opportunity to work with the KSB teams at KDI School and KDI. Many of us joined that project as well. And so those might be of your interest to you. All right. Other questions? Yes. Final question. Go ahead.
Hi, thank you for invitation to this conference, even though I applied first. I have 2 questions for this program. First, there is for part-time programs, there are 2 programs like NTP and NTPD. And is there any chance to change? I think I have an interest in trade and industrial policy and management for development now. So is there any chance to change that program during 2 years? And second...
You mean do both?
No, I mean, is there any chance to change?
Change?
Change
from one to the other?
It is.
No. You have to make up your mind before you apply. And once you apply, your degree will be in that field, either NPP or NPP-ED. Having said that, you can still take as many classes as you want in the other field. And you can actually declare one of the concentration in the other field as your concentration. So you can actually combine the two in fact. Hope that helps. Next question.
Okay, so currently I'm working for the Korean company name is Samsung Electronics. So I think I could be no enough time during Friday like weekday. So is it possible to proceed this program with the weekend program only?
Of course, yeah, that's what the part-time program is for, and you can combine the evening courses and the weekend, which is Saturday courses, to finish. I'm sure most of the part-time students take 2 classes, like 2 on Saturday morning and afternoon, or 1 in the evenings and then 1 on Saturday. And you can pursue, I'm sure, both work and study in that way. Okay. I think that's about the time we have. That's at the end of the introduction to KDI school. We will be around, so do come see us if you have time. Thank you very much.